Today is December 30th, 2011. I'm George Boston Rhymes, kvci.blogspot.com. YouTube, Boston G.B.R. You've seen me without a hat, but tonight I'm wearing a hat because I want to make my point. It's not the kind of hat that I wear that makes me the man or person that I am. But I am that I am. Now, today I read an article in the Valdosta Daily Times from a local minister in our community, the president of the Southern Christian Leadreship Conference. That is the same organization that the Honorable Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. served in and worked under that banner. Minister Rose had a letter to the editor published today, and the title of it was The Disrespecting of a President. The Disrespecting of a President. The article starts out by saying, he is that one, no matter how big and clear his victory, no matter what a true patriot he is, no matter how smart he is, no matter how optimistic and positive he remains, no matter how true he is to his wife or an example for his children, no matter that his mother was white. All of that does not matter, because in the end of the day, Barack Obama is still a black man. The article went on, but I'm not going to read the entire column article, because we all know what the new patriots and the new Christians of today are saying about our beloved president. I am thankful that a minister here in Valdosta had the courage, the nerve, among other things, to tell the truth. Now, I'm sure that there will be other articles published that will criticize Minister Rose, if they haven't already done it, on local radio, TV, and perhaps in the same newspaper this article was published in. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if it don't come out in the next couple of days, a rebuttal to this from the same traditional conservatives that is always disrespecting the 44th president of these United States of America. Criticized. Yes, they will criticize Minister Floyd E. Rose for doing what other ministers, black, white, Jews, and others will not do. They won't take an issue, a side on the issue. They will just seek heaven and the hereafter and collect the monies in their church to get them where they want to go every year and to take their vacations, etc., etc. There's only a few people at this dispensation who are willing to stand up like Jesus, Moses, Mohammed, and the rest of them. Y'all have to excuse me. Pretty soon I think I'm going to have to throw my phone away, because every time I get ready to record, it seems like my phone rings. But we're going to continue this recording. I just want to say to you today, my friend, that we are living at a dispensation when it doesn't matter what kind of hat you wear. It's kind of what kind of heart you wear. Yeah. I want you to know that when I left South Georgia, I was a traditional minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I was soaked down in the European white concept of the Jesus. All the pictures in the Bible was of a white Jesus, white Moses. In my church was a white Jesus and a white Moses. Everything was white. Even my sisters had white dolls to play with. There were no black dolls. They had all white dolls, and they wanted to have, and they would cuddle the little white baby. All they had was little white babies to show them how they should act as a parent, because But it was only later in the 60s. Then they eventually started getting black dolls, but for so long, all they had were little white babies. And so I'm sure that that sent a subliminal message to all black children that you're not as good as whites. Many black people right here in Valdosta, they live in so much damn fear until it just don't make sense. We go out to brown pig restaurants and red pig restaurant and orange pig restaurant, and they won't even hire black waitresses. If you think I'm lying, all I'm asking you to do is to look when you go into local restaurants here in Valdosta. And in your rural towns of your small cities and your larger cities, look for black waitresses. Look for black waitresses. But here in Valdosta, it seems as if though there's something wrong. There's two Valdosta. Go to the city annex and look around and see who's employed. Go to the county commissioner's buildings and see who's hired and who's not. Go to the state building. Go to the federal building and see who's hired. And the strange thing about it, we are so afraid to even say boo. And that's the bad point and the sad story of it all. And so we walk around with our Christian hat on and act like we are more holier than Jesus himself because we are so fearful until we can't stand up for the principles that Caucasians would never put up with. Never, ever, ever. Don't mention the Jews. The white Jews, that is, because, of course, you know there are black Jews, and I'm told that the black Jews are the original Jews. Nobody wants to say that. But when you start wearing the proper hat and the proper attire, there's a lot of truth going to be told you that's going to shake the foundations of your religion. And so I found out years ago that there are some people in our world just don't want the truth. Now me, I wear many hats. And I've gone to the mosques among the Jews, and I went to the masjid and the mosque among Muslims, and I wore my kufi, and they respected me as a human being, and as a Christian, they respected me simply because of the life that I live. I was accepted. But my hat didn't make me who I was, that the Muslims respected me. The life that I live and the way I tried to rear my children, me and my boys and my daughters, and my wife, we went to the synagogue, and they gave each of us one of these little things here. Y'all know what you call them. And so when we went inside of the synagogue, we had to put these on the back of our head. That didn't make me who I was. That did not make my sons who they were. These are the same ones that was issued to my sons when we used to go to the synagogue, because we wanted to understand what the Muslims had been taught, what the Jews had been taught. And so I studied it because I wanted to know. And I wanted my children to know, especially my sons. And so we wore what they gave us. The hat, that didn't make us who we were. That don't make me who I am. What Floyd Rose stand up in the community and do makes him who he is. Because he don't live in fear. Regardless of what people say, he don't live in fear. You don't do this by living in fear. You do it because there's a greater calling. A greater calling. I went in the armed forces, served 20 years. I was authorized, certified, and had to be qualified to go out and kill under this hat. With this hat, I was permitted to kill in the United States Armed Forces. Yeah, they taught me confidence, they taught me courage, they taught me how to stand up on the principles of right on the square, and to how to say, when they say halt or to the rear, I had to move on point. But yet, when Walmart failed to train me, they want me to go and bow my head as if though I had never been trained, as if though I never wore the common hat of my grandfather. They want me to bow down as I never wore the hat of a Muslim and in their company because I wanted to be associated to get what they knew. Or when I went into the synagogue, me and my sons, they don't want me to stand up against Walmart. When I was in the military, they taught me how to stand up and not bow. They taught me left face, to the rear, forward march, to the left, eyes hook. And I learned all that. But then when Walmart treat me like a suck egg dog, I'm supposed to suck it up as if though they are Jesus and I am a squirrel in a dead tree without nuts. And there are too many American people, there are too many active duty, retired military veterans that's doing that today. Yeah, I've worn many hats in my lifetime. I'm not supposed to show y'all this one, but I'm going to do it. I wore this hat as a 32nd degree Mason. Yeah, 32nd degree Mason. I wore this hat. But that didn't make me who I am today. I know many Masons today. Sublime Prince of the Royal Secret. But they won't stand up for the principles of what's right. They know it, but they won't. You know what I'm talking about. And so we punk out under pressure. But we won't do what Rose did. Defend the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief of our armed forces, many of whom died in defending this country. Every day we wake up to Frank Bonus on 105.9, Valdosta State University professor on Black Crow Media, down this president like no president, as Floyd Rose said, in the history of this nation. But nobody want to talk about that. We listen to Luther Ingram, Rush Limbaugh, Cal Thomas, and others criticize the President of the United States as if though he's nothing but a worm on the street, and we sit back and accept the crap and other flap and don't say nothing. Like we are black people done lost our direction and a white right people done lost our direction. And black folks should never, never, ever hate all white people. White people have always stood on our side. From even before we was brought as prisoners from Africa, Senegal, to this place called home today. So let us not hate white folk. Never allow yourself to do what they have done to you. For when you allow them to make you do to them what they have done to you and your ancestors, then you are no better than them. No better than them. And we know that there are many white right people, or President Barack Obama would never even been in office in the first place. It's just a few with the money who buy up radio station and buy up TV and spread their propaganda, and the average Negro and the average white person, including the poor one, are too afraid to stand on the very principles of Jesus Christ, the very principles of Moses, the very principles of Muhammad, the very principles of those in Hinduism, or who are Hindu. I got it right. So we just play the game. We just play the game from hat to hat, place to place, worship belief to another. And I believe this, you believe that. I'm a Muslim, you a Shriner, I'm better than you. All that foolishness that keeps dividing us, and somebody keep telling us this and telling us that, but they won't tell you what Floyd Rose told you. And he will be criticized for it. I'm guaranteed. I'm going to do another clip. I'll be back when they do their negativity on that. Watch and see. There will be, in a few days, there'll be another article in the Valdosta Daily Times. I believe they already have it. And you're going to see how they criticize him. And it's okay. We used to that. We live it. They are not saying anything about President Obama that they didn't say to every black and white right leader that came to help us. Why do you think they're criticizing and talking about the government is too big, they want smaller government? Because when the black man didn't have nobody on their side, it was the federal government that came in and tried to give some type of civil help to the black African Americans. So what do we do today? We just play the game. We just pretend to be a follower of Jesus Christ. And listen, I know this for a fact. Christian folk, Christians seem to be the most scared the scariest people on the planet today. They'll get in church, they'll talk about how holy they are, and they'll talk about, woo, you know, but when it comes down to standing up and fighting the system openly, where it may cost them their job or their life or their respect or their losing their home, they are quiet. You can hear a flea drop because they're scared as hell. And I don't blame them, because I used to be the same way. The only difference is that I acknowledged my fear. And by me acknowledging the fear that I used to have, I was able to free myself from prison. I was able to free myself. And this is why I give you nothing but the truth as I see it. And I give you an invitation to refute what I say, because I love you just that much. And I realize that you cannot be free until truth comes. As long as you are living a lie and saying you're not scared as hell when you are, you can never be free. So it doesn't matter what kind of hat you put on. Now that looked like a lot of hats I wore. That's not all of them. I was the former president of NAACP, so I got an NAACP hat I wore. And other civil rights organization hats that I wore, and just regular ordinary hats of different things that I wore. Yeah. Some of them look prettier than others. But those hats and the beauty don't make me who I am. Yeah. I even wore this one that most people are afraid of. And some people lie about. They lie in that they will say that Islam is a dirty religion. How many whites and blacks have you seen wore this hat, this fez? They know that the Muslims in truth are not about terrorist acts. They know that because they went where I went. They've been faced with the Holy Quran. They know what I know. But they lie to you. They want to keep you ignorant. They want to keep you deaf, dumb, and blind. And so they keep playing game with you. They tell you don't read the lost books of the Bible. They tell you to don't read the Egyptian Book of the Dead. They tell you to don't read the book of the white supremacist groups. They tell you not to read about the pre-Adamites, the people that supposedly were before Adam. They don't want you to read that. They don't want you to read 8 books that mention in the King James Version. The King James Version called the book of Jasher, the book of the wars of God, the book of the knowledge of God, the Ecclesiasticus. These books are listed in the King James Version, but are not in the book, but you still can get copies of them because I got them. They don't want you to know that. They don't want you to read that. They don't want you to read about the Maccabees. They don't want you to read about the book of Tobit. They don't want you to do nothing but what they tell you to do, because they want you to be their fool. They want you to be their slave. They want you to follow their teaching when you ain't never heard nothing. You haven't read about King James. You don't know the life of King James. You don't know nothing about the Crusades. You don't know nothing about all the people that were killed by the Knights Templars. This is history. This is no mystery. This don't pump me up. But you got to know the truth in this world in order to be free. When I came from the woods of Brooks County, I didn't know what I know now. I did not know then what I know now. And I'm still ignorant. And got enough sense to know it. And I think you need to know some things too. That maybe you ignorant, but you just don't know it yet. Yeah. Think about it. And so, in closing, I thank you, Brother Rose, for having the courage as a servant of our God to speak out and tell the people the truth. Now, the Republicans talk about, and I got a listing of them because I'm a member of many sites on the internet reserved for Republicans. I get their literature because like all these hats that I wore, I want to know what they know, and so I get their literature simply because of the fact that I don't want to be deaf, dumb, and blind to the times and unable to make intelligent decisions based on facts. And so I study what they study. Then I pray, not like you pray, but I pray the way I pray. And I may read the Bible a little different from you. And when I look at an article in the newspaper about one of our local preachers, who I'm sure they're going to call a lot of dirty names, already some denominations already call rolls, say don't mix politics and religion together. But if you would study African ancient history, you would find about religion, and you also would find astrotheology. You would find about religion and the heavens and the state of the heavens and the sun and the moon and stars were all a part, collected together in this thing we call religion of the world, because God had a hand in it all. But they tell you something else. They tell you to break it up and put it under the secrecy of this hat. So you got to join this hat in order to get the knowledge that, or the information that should be available to you anyway. They'll tell you to join this level to get this hat here, so you can understand what is going on in your world. But your world may not be my world. And so the story remains that you don't know what's going on. So we're going to close this. But I want you to know that I talk like I do because I love you. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't do this. And you know, I get phone calls when I'm making these videos. Some people would turn their phone off and they wouldn't have the mistakes in their videos that I have. I don't pride myself in mistakes or things that are not 100% perfect, but I want you to know something. Ain't y'all tired of everything being perfect all the time? You gotta cut and do it over again, copy, paste, slick it together, slap it together, cut this out, cut that out, put this in, take that out, roll this over, turn that upside down, kiss this, slap that. But they never give you the truth. And so regardless of how Brother Rhymes bring it to you, I want you to be able to say, you might have got a phone call, but he given us a truth that we would not have gotten otherwise. That's the flavor of George Boston Rhymes. And on YouTube, this is what I do, because I truly, truly love you. And don't you deceive yourself. People are listening to the truth that I'm speaking, and they don't want you to know it. Believe me, they don't. You know why? You know why they don't want you to know it? Because they don't want you free. Jesus said, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set and make you free. Yeah. This is kvci.blogspot.com. George Boston Rhymes. I talk like this because God in heaven knows I love you too much to let others make merchandise of you. Then they get into a back room. Once they have made merchandise of you like Walmart did me, and call you a fool. You can call me a fool, Walmart Stores Incorporated presidents, but you're going to know more before it's all over of who you're dealing with. And believe me, it's not me you're dealing with. There is yet a God on the throne keeping watch over his own. Peace be unto you. May God forever bless you. Bye-bye. We go.